Visit our sponsor, Infidel Body Armor, right now. Get the AMTV Armor Kit Special because it's sick. Save big. Get the Viper Modular Operator Plate Carrier, your choice of color, Infidel Level 3 curved armor plates, 10 by 12 inch front and back AR-500 steel with 1/4 inch build-up standard, tactical trauma individual first aid kit, and AR-15 magazine pouches, enough to hold 6 30-round magazines. Infidel Body Armor just won't quit. Call 1-888-608-6605. That's 1-888-608-6605. Or click the link below right now. Lifetime warranty, free shipping.
Hey everybody, I'm Christopher Greene. You're watching AMTV Alternative Media Television. Today is Wednesday, August 31st, 2016. If Hillary Rotten Clinton wins in November, expect total Armageddon. You heard me, and I'm serious. Expect total Western American annihilation. The end of the world. It's all over. You see, she already knows that she's above the law. She can get away with anything, whether or not it's her husband, his shenanigans, scandals, deaths, suicides like Vince Foster, or it's Benghazi Gate, the death of Christopher Stevens, several other Americans, trafficking guns from Libya, the indirect killing through NATO of Muammar Gaddafi, the attempted overthrow of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad, the death of some 470,000 plus civilians in this part of the world, the arming of terrorist organizations like ISIS that didn't even exist before her, building her own email infrastructure, then blowing it up, deleting all these confidential emails. James Comey, FBI director, not pressing charges. Again, if Hillary Rotten Clinton gets into the White House in November, a third term of Barack Hussein, insane in the membrane Obama, expect total Armageddon and annihilation of the Western world. This really is the difference between good and evil, light and truth and darkness. America is at war. I don't think we've ever been at this crossroads before. You see, Hillary Clinton will continue the policies of Barack Obama, will only help to fuel the fire that makes up the American surveillance state, that pads the pockets of the too-big-to-fail banksters that pay her tens of millions of dollars in speaking fees, her money laundering scam that makes up the Clinton Foundation, a multi-hundred-plus million-dollar pay-to-play scam so that she can bend over and work for these people that have paid her husband, let's say, to give a speech, or herself to give a speech, to pay to play in Washington, D.C., when she was running and when she was the Secretary of State. A war hawk, somebody who voted for the war in Iraq, continued the wars of George W. Bush in Iraq and Afghanistan, and started new ones in places like Libya and Syria. In fact, I think as a part of her presidency, she would more than likely start a new war, a bigger war. Something I think we're already engaged in, like Vietnam. It took Americans and pundits over a decade to realize and actually admit that we were engaged in the conflict that made up Vietnam and cost, many, many people their lives. The same thing is happening now. I think as a woman especially, she would want to use force. Not because she is a woman, but because she would view the rest of the world thinking that she didn't have any strength as the first female president. And again, why would we expect anything different? This is what has been achieved through the Obama administration and herself. I've been reading a little bit of a book, Armageddon, which kind of is the reason for this video, written by Dick Morris. I think it's kind of interesting, but it's also kind of propaganda because it just has you focused on the right-left paradigm. Like, it's just the war between Republicans and Democrats and Hillary Clinton over here and, Donald Trump over here. And it's just a playbook to basically overthrow her here in 2016. But it doesn't really talk about the fact that it's not a war between right and left. It's a war against a common enemy, of which we should all be united. Whether or not you vote for Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders or you vote for Donald Trump. War against the banksters, the political elite, this establishment that makes up Washington and Wall Street today, that continues to sail off into the sunset with their golden parachutes and rape you, steal from you, invade your Privacy, illegal search and seizure, monitoring your every move, your cell phone data, etc., skewing the election through the too big to fail tech companies that make up monopolies like Google today. That's the common enemy. And so, yes, we are engaged in Armageddon, biblical prophecy. And I think Donald Trump does help to combat it. You see, it's why most of the GOP party up until now hasn't even supported him. That only shows you who the dirty politicians are. People like Jeb Bush and Mitt Romney, for example. They don't like their feathers ruffled. In fact, they own the system. So for a guy like Donald Trump to get involved, well, they don't want him. No, they're going to eschew him. Donald Trump is meeting with the president of Mexico, Nieto. In fact, probably as we speak. And he's laying out a plan for how he's going to force Mexico to pay the sum of some $5 to $10 billion for the wall that he's going to build. And I believe he can build the wall. He can. I mean, he builds things. He does build buildings. Whether you love or you hate the guy, he does know how to build. He does know how to build shit. He says that the way he'll get Mexico to pay for it, this is an easy decision, going to cost like $5 to $10 billion to do, is he's going to stop payments from immigrants, Mexican immigrants here in the United States, whether or not they're illegal or not, from sending that money back home, which a lot of Mexican Americans do, whether or not they're illegal or not. So I guess he's going to monitor every single Western Union transaction that ever occurs. Not an easy task. I mean, a complete bureaucracy. See, people like me agree with stopping the illegal immigration. Again, nothing against legal immigration, but stopping the illegal immigration. But I'm not so sure, just to be a critic here, even somebody that supports Donald Trump, if this is the best way to get Mexico to pay for the wall. I think a more important question is logistically, Donald, how are you going to deport an estimated 11.4 plus million undocumented immigrants back to Mexico? Like logistically, how does it happen? Do they get a letter in the mail like, you better leave by Tuesday, you're evicted? Or does like a bus show up and pat them all, into the bus and send them back home? Does the Gestapo show up with guns? I mean, I'm being facetious a little bit, but I'm actually also serious. Like, how is it actually done? Is it even realistic? You can be 100% sure that the Democratic Party, for example, is forcing illegal immigration into the United States for one simple reason. Once they're here, they vote Democrat. And it solidifies not just a third term of Hillary Rotten Clinton, the criminal, crooked Hillary, but it solidifies even her successors in the future. In fact, the Republican Party will never win again under those circumstances. So Dick Morris actually has a good argument from the standpoint Western civilization and America as we know it is finished unless we can swing the pendulum back with the Donald Trump presidency. I also want to know, this is a question I have of Donald, is, he's come up with the meme, crooked Hillary, crooked Hillary, the crook. When and if he becomes president of the United States, is he going to prosecute her? Like, is he going to bring charges? Or is this just something he says, but once he becomes president of the United States, he doesn't do anything? I mean, Hillary Clinton should be in jail. So if you become president of the United States, are you going to bring charges, something that James Comey, the FBI director, hasn't done? Are you going to go after the too big to fail banksters? Are you going to abolish the Federal Reserve? Are you going to fire Janet Hoare Yellen? Those are legitimate questions that I think that we need to ask. Donald Trump really isn't even a real Republican. That's why the Republican Party doesn't even like him. He's really running on a new platform. I don't know if he would call it a platform of independence, of freedom, of libertarianism. Maybe it's a hybrid of all three, but that's actually what I think more likely happens. Again, I know most of the audience here hasn't been too excited about the fact that I predict Donald Trump loses. I think it's engineered. I don't think that the vote matters. I think it's rigged and the scales are tipped to Hillary Clinton. Again, I'm not happy about it. It's just what I think happens. It's going to come down again to a gnat's ass. You heard it here first a year and a half ago. This is before Donald Trump was even the GOP pick, and we've talked about that as a possibility at that time, something that I thought would happen. But what I do see is a splintering, and I see a new movement being created that is teeing up even the next election. But how is that a good thing if it's all over and this is Armageddon now if Hillary Clinton gets in? I don't think it is. Polls are narrowing. In fact, Donald Trump's even taken the lead in some polls. Again, it's coming down to a gnat's ass as we approach just a couple of months before the election. And here we are at this crossroads. It's like fireballs coming down. This Armageddon experience that makes up American politics today where all odds are stacked against us. Good versus evil. Light and the truth versus the darkness. Are we seeing the forest through the trees? Do people really understand, both right and left, that it's not a war of Republican versus Democrat, but it's a unified war against a common enemy? People like Hillary Clinton. People that are the establishment politicians. The too big to fail Wall Street banksters that pay off those same people. The mainstream media. That's the enemy. Those are the people that we are at war with. A common thread. A common enemy. Why are we spending so much time fighting or bickering over the politics of building a wall or not building a wall or deporting or not deporting, when we could focus 100% of our energy, time, and resources, united as a great people that makes up the United States of America, going to war with the real criminals? Those people that do not have our best interests at heart and that are clearly above the law. Hillary Clinton believes she is above the law. She can get away with anything, and she knows it because she has. In fact, the fact that the FBI director didn't bring any charges against her only emboldens her. And if she becomes president of the United States, my God, we are at war, not just with other countries, but with the world. This spiritual warfare, this moral warfare, political warfare, yes, at the surface, but this is much bigger. That's something Dick Morris, the author of Armageddon, along with his wife, are right about. It's the end. This is our last chance to take a stand. I'd like to hear your thoughts. I'm Christopher Greene. Get it out everywhere. Make it viral, hard-hitting it in your face, and click the link below to support our sponsor. Peace.